Hello, I'm Fred Evans. Welcome to Montgomery Week in Review. The concept of a medical home delivering the best kind of care to a patient is not new. Jose Luis Diaz from Community Clinic Incorporated will tell us about how its facilities are working to provide this kind of care to all its patients. Two long existing providers of care in our community, St. Luke's House and Threshold Services, have joined forces to form Cornerstone Montgomery. Cari Cho, the director of the combined agencies, will explain the recent changes. The Montgomery County Department of Economic Development has some new programs in the works, including MOVE. Susan Prince from the department has the details. Choose Respect Montgomery is a program for teens that's having its 6th annual conference March 8th. Phil Andrews from the state's attorney's office will tell us all about it. Welcome to the show, Jose.
Thank you. Thank you. Happy to be here.
Please tell us the basic information about your organization.
Absolutely. CCI Community Clinic has been around since 1972.
Wow.
And even though we started as a safety net access point for folks who didn't know or have an opportunity to seek medical care, we are now what we consider to be an integrated practice.
Where are you? Oh, I'm sorry.
No, go ahead.
Where are you located?
We have our service area comprises all of Montgomery County and northern Prince George's County. And we have 13 sites that deliver all kinds of services, including primary care, behavioral health, dentistry, and we also are the largest WIC program administrator for the state of Maryland. WIC stands for Women, Infant, and Children.
Right.
And is a nutrition education and supplement program administered by the Department of Agriculture. Okay. And so we started as a safety net access point, and we now consider ourselves an integrated facility where we combine multiple disciplines to make sure that we look at our consumers in a more holistic way, that we take care of them in a way that's relevant to their situation, in a way that will ensure positive outcomes both for their health and for the continuum. We want to make sure that people remain healthy for the long period of time, that they understand what that means. How do they have a healthy life? What are the elements that need to come into place for that? And so we spent a lot of time doing that. 2015 is going to be a year focused on this integration. We have some great projects coming along. One with Cornerstone.
Absolutely.
We did a model project about 3 years ago where we brought the primary care practice into the behavioral health practice. And folks who have severe mental illnesses, their life expectancy is reduced by 25 years.
No question.
Because they forget about going to the doctor and get their blood pressure checked and take care of routine stuff.
We would see that they would be very comfortable going to see their psychiatrist, but they wouldn't always feel comfortable going to a primary care doctor. So I know you've done some embedding of the services in your clinics, but then they also put staff into our mental health clinics. So now it is a situation where the therapist or even the psychiatrist can say, oh, your blood pressure is really high today. Let me walk you down the hall so you can go see your medical doctor as well. You don't just have to stop with me today. Your medical doctor is in the office next door. So it really does allow for a warm handoff and that collaboration so that the whole person can be treated.
Absolutely. And it really is important that folks pay attention to those things. I mean, they're really focused on their behavioral health, but completely forget about their chronic issues that could be easily treated.
Right.
And it's interesting, Montgomery County has a program called the Thingstitute, which is in the Red Brick Courthouse.
Say that one more time.
It's pronounced Thingstitute, not Thingstitute, and it's about the Internet of Things. It's a very innovative program. Montgomery County is the first in the country to provide a living lab where people can come in, and one of the things that they're doing is they are working with Victory Court to introduce internet technology for the residents, for people who may have trouble remembering to take their medication, or and it's kind of an interesting program. It might be something that you guys might want to look into.
Thank you. Yeah, we'll definitely we'll do
How
that.
does someone how does someone access, or who's eligible to access your program?
Everyone.
Whether they have insurance or don't.
Absolutely. As a federally qualified health center, our job is to be that access point
Gotcha.
to anyone in the community, no matter what. Certainly, we have all kinds of opportunities once they come through our doors. We also have Affordable Care Act navigators that can help people explore the health covered.
Affordable Care Act navigators.
That's right. Also known as Obamacare.
I understand. I understand.
They can help people explore what's available based on their situation,
Right.
based on their income and their immigration status.
What's the biggest challenge that the organization, would you say, is facing it right now?
Well, we have, as you all know, we have a very diverse, culturally diverse region. In Montgomery County alone, it's an insane amount of languages that are spoken.
Yes.
And our patients ourselves, it's over 200 languages. So I think language is one of the biggest barriers. We are very, very purposely staffed in a way that our staff mirrors that population.
Excellent.
Our staff comes from 28 different countries and speak 24 different languages. So we ourselves have an opportunity there to make sure that we are culturally relevant to our consumers, but still there is a language gap there. We have a very vibrant asylee community. There's about 200 or 250 families that get reassigned annually into the region. A lot of those folks come through our doors, and we help them navigate the healthcare system, and that also is one of our biggest challenges.
Don't want to interrupt, but we have about 30 seconds or so. What is the major message you would like to get across to the residents of Montgomery County about your program?
Absolutely. CCI is available to anyone and everyone in the community. We have amazing practitioners, primary care, dentistry, behavioral health, and just come check us out.
Well, thank you very much. It was very informative, very informative. Cari, Cornerstone Montgomery.
Yes, Cornerstone Montgomery.
Tell us about your organization.
Okay, well, as you mentioned, we are a merged organization. 3 years ago, Threshold Services and St. Luke's House, both primary behavioral health providers in the county, decided to merge. And we basically did that because we wanted to really position ourselves for healthcare reform. We wanted to provide better services to our clients. St. Luke's House had been around for about 40 years, and Threshold Services had been around for about 30 years.
And what did St. Luke's, what was their major function, or
Well,
those
both-
two organizations?
Really, both organizations had a very similar mission. So we came together, and now, as you may know, that there were 1 in 4 adults in the country will experience a mental illness in any given year.
Yes.
And 1 in 17 of adults in this country will have a severe mental illness. So they'll have schizophrenia, bipolar disorder, major depression, and half of those will have also a co-occurring substance use disorder. So what we do is we provide a variety of services to those folks, to the people with severe illnesses. And we have 212 residential beds. We have 3 outpatient clinics where people get medication.
Wow.
Yeah, and treatment. We also have a supported employment program that helps people find, get, and keep jobs.
While I'm thinking of it,
Yes.
do you have a website that you would like to
Absolutely.
identify?
Yeah,
Could you do that?
Yeah, it's cornerstonemontgomery.org.
Cornerstone Montgomery, that's pretty easy.
Yes.
CornerstoneMontgomery.org.
.org, yes.
Okay,
Yeah.
I'm sorry.
That's
go
okay.
ahead.
No, that's fine. Our priority is to help the people we serve to live, work, and engage in the community. And we do that through the services we offer. And we also have a priority of education and advocacy. Really, you know, you hear about the shootings in the malls, the schools, and a lot of those folks have been identified as
Absolutely.
people with mental illness, and most of them weren't receiving treatment. So we want to make sure that we reduce the stigma and discrimination, that people know that those who are diagnosed with mental illness, they're no more likely to be aggressive or violent than the regular population, as long as they're receiving treatment and have access to treatment. So a lot of what we do is to try and educate the community about the resources that are out there and about access. And that's a need for advocacy as well, to make sure that the resources and access continue to improve.
I think that's very important because I think for most of us, we spend a lot of time and energy learning about how to take care of our bodies, but not of our minds. And I think that sort of gets put aside until it's
Right.
an emergency.
Absolutely.
So that education, it's a big.
Yeah, it's a really important, and advocacy, because if the resources and access aren't there, then we're not going to be able to reduce those incidents and have other things happen. I think, you know, what we try and look at is, what can we do? How can we educate? How can we provide advocacy for that? Funding is obviously a big deal. And mental health, even though it really is a priority, an urgent priority, in the last 18 years, mental health, the public mental health system in the state has only gotten an inflationary adjustment 5 times in 18 years.
I personally and professionally find that incredible, that we're still talking about mental health as if it's something way out there that we shouldn't be dealing with as we deal with cancer, blood pressure. It's a medical condition.
Right, and if they cutting those services or the funds to us is not going to necessarily see a savings, because that means in other areas, and go into the emergency department, going into the criminal justice system, those services are going to increase. Those homelessness, that's all going to increase. So we have to find the balance somehow.
You're right, mental health is a huge issue in the criminal justice system.
Yes.
And we've seen really a deinstitutionalization over the last 40 years.
Right.
And really a shift of the institutionalization from hospitals to jails in many respects. The jails are the biggest providers of mental health services.
In many jurisdictions, absolutely.
And it's true in Maryland, right. So there need to be more resources in the community for mental health, and we need to find ways to divert people who are committing crimes, not homicides, but more minor crimes, into the mental health treatment system and away from jail.
And Montgomery County, there's a lot of people who talk about this, and we work on this. So it's not something that we're just, oh, ho-hum, this is happening. There are people who work on it. There are programs going on and regular attempts to do that and discussions, but it's just a challenge, especially when the funding is cut. You can't try new things.
So as an example, do you work in collaboration with, say, the Mental Health Association of Montgomery County or different organizations like that?
Sure, absolutely. We work with them. We work with, Community Clinic. Interfaith Works is another program. We have a lot of partnerships even with hospitals. One of the main reasons for the increase in admissions to hospitals is behavioral health problems. So they want our help. We want to partner with the hospitals to help decrease that, to make sure that when people are discharged, there's some follow-up, we can support them and keep them from going back to the hospital, keep them in the community. But it's an ongoing challenge, and unless you have that collaboration, those partnerships, even working with the criminal justice system, you have to have those collaborations, and that's one of our focuses, and I think we're pretty strong in that.
In the short time that remains, what is your major message you'd like to send to the community?
Just
citizens?
to, have an open mind, get some education about mental illness. Don't make the assumptions. Don't fall back onto that discrimination and the stigma. And please look at our website, contact us for information.
Thank you. We'll be back after these messages. We're back. Donna, welcome. And tell us about MOVE.
Well, I'm Susan from the Department of Economic Development, Montgomery County, and I am thrilled to be here to talk about a new program that we have. Essentially, the county has rolled out a new program that was effective February 1st to attract new businesses to come to Montgomery County. And so far, we are off to a great start. We have communicated with the business community and the brokerage community about this new program, which essentially provides a grant, if you will, of $8 per square foot for companies that relocate into the county for their first time. That when they take a new 3-year lease, if they've never been here before, they will receive a check. County will write you a check for $8 a square foot up to 10,000 square feet. So if you take new office space, Class A or Class B, I know that sounds very, very esoteric, but essentially it's everything but retail or retail or restaurants. We will provide you with a grant. And so far it's great. We've had lots of interest. We've had quite a few inquiries. We're hoping to draw more companies to come to the county. Some of you may know we've had a bit of an oversupply of office space within the county due to a couple of different things. We've had some of the federal agencies have consolidated their offices into buildings within the county, but it's freed up office space. Some of the businesses that are currently in Montgomery County, when they're renewing their leases, they've been taking smaller spaces because the trend is going towards hoteling or teleworking. In addition, there's been sequestration. So there have been a couple of things that have happened that have created this, I don't want to use the word glut, but excess of office space in the county. And so we are trying to roll out a program that we hope is going to really.
So if I do my math correctly, 8 times 10,000, $80,000.
$80,000, yes. You can get a
So
check.
that would be an enticement.
Yes, yes. Well, it's the perfect program for Montgomery County because we're already very competitive. We have so many things to offer for companies that are located here, and the county has a huge array of programs. In fact, you can go to our website, choosemontgomerycountymd.com.
ChooseMontgomeryCountyMD.com.
Yes, and it has a whole array of programs that are available. The MOVE program is right on the homepage. I had them put it there to make it easy for people who may be watching the show who can get that information easily.
So Cornerstone Montgomery has a supported employment program, and we develop relationships. It's one of our priorities to develop relationships with the businesses who will employ the people that we serve.
Yes.
So is there a way we can find out who's taken advantage of the MOVE program, or, you know, I don't know, be one of the resources perhaps that people who move in here can hear about us, and maybe we can be connected with them and tell them all about us?
That is a great point. In fact, we actually have been working to create a welcome kit for companies that come here because I come from a marketing background, and so for instance, when you buy a new car, one of the things you do is you watch the TV ads, and you always feel good when you see an ad about your car because it looks great. So we decided that when companies relocate here, we don't want to just spend a lot of energy just trying to attract them, that once they get here, we want to make sure they know all of the services that are available. So we're creating this welcome kit, and it's going to have a whole resources page. So
maybe we could be part of the welcome kit.
I would love to. I'd love to
And
include
it
that.
would have things in there like, I assume, the school system and about services that the
that we offer.
community provides.
But also we'd want to say, hey, we could be a resource for employees, for staffing.
Definitely.
Yeah,
definitely.
because the people we serve are great employees.
Susan, where are the areas in the county where there's the most excess office space?
That is a good question. It's pretty widely spread. There's some areas that are more filled than others. Bethesda has a pretty robust environment. Silver Spring, I know, has some available space, but it's pretty much across the board. We've got differing locations have different kinds of spaces that are available to them. So.
That's excellent.
Very good.
What would you like the citizens to know? Because I wasn't aware of MOVE until I just heard it today. What would you want just Joe Citizen or Jane Citizen to know
Well,
about?
I think it's really important to understand how vital the business community is to the county. That when you talk about economic development, it's not just developers, but basically it's the entire business community. And that by taking up the office space, it helps to strengthen our tax base. And that the stronger our business community is, it enables the county to offer more services. So it reduces some of the burden on taxpayers. So it's not just your residential taxes that are supporting all the services, but it's also the business community really is very, very important.
Well, thank you for that really important information. And last but not least, Mr. Andrews, Phil.
Nice to see you, Fred.
Welcome. And tell us about what you're doing now, but specifically the program you're working with.
Sure. Well, Choose Respect is an annual conference. It was the brainchild of Judge Mary Elser Bernard to help break the cycle of domestic violence because we have too much domestic violence throughout the country, and we have a lot in Montgomery County as well. We see it every day at the state's attorney's office, and a lot of organizations and neighborhoods and families feel it too. So the way to do that, to break the cycle, is to influence young people to avoid abusive relationships and to teach young people about what to look for in a healthy relationship. So that's the purpose of the Choose Respect program. And the Choose Respect conference is going to be on Sunday, March 8th from 12:30 to 4 at Montgomery College in Germantown. We're delighted Montgomery College is again sponsoring this conference. They've been a wonderful partner. It's co-sponsored by Verizon, and we've got MCs Toby Knapp from 99.5 and Jackie Benson from News Channel 4 who are coming back again to help MC the conference. It's targeted toward teens, middle school and high school youth, but parents who come with them, there are programs for them too, and youth service providers. And the first 50 students that come will receive a free $10 card from Chipotle.
Oh,
and there's free
okay.
pizza
Well,
at the
you're
end.
going to get a lot of
A
kids
lot of
showing up for
breakouts.
that because Chipotle is absolutely
popular,
the
yeah.
Very
most.
popular.
I have a 17-year-old, and
Same
I think
here.
that's a line item on our budget is Chipotle.
They are popular.
Yes,
and,
they are.
Well,
and
that's,
there are going to be public service videos of the students. In fact, they're up on the Facebook page, Choose Respect Montgomery, that people can look at. They've been running for a few days now, 2 run each day, and then winners will be selected at the announced at the event. There are breakout sessions. State's Attorney John McCarthy is coming with a lot of our team to participate. The sheriff plays a key role. Darren
Sheriff
Popkin.
Popkin, yeah.
The Domestic Violence Coordinating Council is the
Sure.
is the primary organizer of the event, but sponsored by the county.
I went
Verizon
to an
others.
meeting, a symposium about domestic violence just recently, and although I feel as if I was informed, the one aspect of it that really hit me between the eyes was how children who observe domestic violence should have been something I thought about more, and the effect on them, not only at the time, but in their future. Oh my goodness gracious. And how important it is that we make providers aware and the citizens aware of this and how we get them help.
You're right, and children are victims who experience or see domestic
Either
violence.
directly or
are
see it.
victims too.
Yes.
And there's a program that former Councilmember Mike Subin
Right.
proposed that's been in place for a number of years now that links children who experience or see domestic violence to mental health providers. So that is an important program.
Right.
I just want to say the theme of this year's conference is Respect Your Selfie.
Respect your selfie. There you go.
And there's a
That's
focus
not a
on
bad idea.
social media.
Right.
And if the teens come at 12:30, they're going to walk down a red carpet with pylons alongside, like the Academy Awards,
Okay.
and they can take pictures of themselves with some of the VIPs who are there, and then they can put them up on their social media.
Is there a
Great idea.
hashtag? Is there a
There's
hashtag for that?
There is. Hashtag Respect Your Selfie 2015.
Love
Okay.
it.
Great.
Hashtag
Hashtag.
Respect Your
Your
Selfie 2015.
That's it.
I think it is important because I can tell you that so many of the people that we serve
No question.
have history of trauma, and whether it's through observing it or domestic violence is always an aspect of that. So I know it's something that impacts people for their entire life.
And you're right, and it's something we can prevent in
Yes.
many cases.
Right.
A lot of homicides over the years
No
have been
question.
domestic violence related, but there's almost always a red flag. It doesn't start as a homicide,
Right.
and so it is the homicide that's most preventable.
That's correct. And but speaking of red flags, our pediatricians are trained to look for those red flags whenever they
Excellent.
are
Absolutely.
with any of our consumers at any stage of their visits, because we're so aware of the prevalence
Yeah.
of it.
And the other group that will see firsthand some of this are educators. I know
Absolutely.
when I was an educator, we were trained to
Look.
see, find out, and if a kid says that he or she had a problem, we were required, and we should be required, to follow up with
Absolutely.
it for the Child Protective Services.
Yeah, absolutely.
So we hope people come. The conference is free. It's 12:30 to 4 at Montgomery
On March
College in
8th.
Germantown,
Is that-
Sunday, March 8th.
Martha, all right. Are there any last words you want to give in the short time that remains about
Well,
this project? And
It's a project that is ongoing. A lot of education is done in the schools. State's Attorney's Office has regular speakers that go out and present
That's right.
to students. One of your former students, Carla Smith, was
That's right.
one of the
Judge
outstanding
Smith.
presenters. Now Judge Carla Smith, but
Right.
former Assistant State's Attorney and
Well,
head of the Family Crimes
we
Division.
thank you. We thank all of you. Thank you all for joining me this week, and thank you for joining all of us for this week's edition of Montgomery Week in Review. I'm Fred Evans. Please join us next week at the same time. Thank you.